town, paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night. Now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show. It's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights. Neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hard true stars up above. A little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. It's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. By the water line, kids still laughing like nothing's changed. But there's a whole lot of talk on the screen these days, and not enough folks saying it face to face. We ain't perfect, never claimed to be, but we know what matters when the dust all clears. It's family, friends, and a little dignity, and standing strong through the years. Ain't about left, ain't about right. It's about showing up when it's time to fight. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights. Neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, heart true stars up above. A little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. Sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. Ain't no filter, ain't no spin. Just who we are and where we've been. If you fall down, we pull you up. That's the kind of country built on us. Let's get back to dirt roads, back porch lights. Neighbors standing up, yeah, ready to fight. Cold beer, heart true stars up above. A little less talk and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a flag you fold. It's a way of life and a code we hold. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back, yeah, back to heart. Yeah, back to us. Woo. Back to us.
Tonight's show is a full deep dive into all things Kentucky basketball. We are going to talk backcourt. We're going to talk wings. We're going to talk front court. And yes, we're going to talk about the possibility of Malachi Moreno not coming back to the Cats. And what does that mean for everybody else? Tonight on Apex News, we are talking UK basketball.
Okay, let's go.
Craig, how we doing tonight? Craig, how we doing tonight?
Nerded out on stats all afternoon, so it's just numbers galore today.
Well, tonight on Apex News, above the noise, Mark Pope may have assembled his most talented roster yet at Kentucky. The Wildcats are bigger. They are more athletic. They are more experienced. And potentially they are deeper than they've been in years. But there are still questions. Can this team shoot consistently enough? Who becomes the alpha scorer? Will Malachi Moreno actually return? And could Kentucky still land one more superstar from the portal? Tonight we break down every projected player on this roster, what they bring to the table, and how Kentucky stacks up nationally heading into the 2026-2027 season. This is a full Kentucky basketball roster special, and it starts right now. Good evening, everyone. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Craig, tonight is one Kentucky fans have been waiting for because this roster is starting to come together, and it's actually quite fascinating. There's a little bit of everything on this team. NBA upside, veteran transfers, returning young talent, size, length. You're going to love when we start talking about wingspans of some of these guys, and a lot of positional versatility. And the really wild part about this is the roster may not even be finished yet. We have 13 players on this roster. UK will probably add at least 2 more to round that out. And we may be looking at a situation where a couple of these guys may actually redshirt, but we will talk about that as we get going in here tonight. Craig, we will start out with the backcourt because that is the foundation of where things will happen this year. And we will start with Zoom Diallo. Let's take a look at Zoom's background here as we're chatting about him. I know you have already started doing some research on some of these guys and what it looks like for the next
points, 3.9 rebounds, which is strong, and 4.5 assists a game while shooting 489.3 games last year for Washington. So we've got a dynamic player that, as you can see in here, just loves running the floor, getting down court quick, and can shoot just like that three right there.
He can. He's the presumed lead guard going into the season,
Right.
I would assume. He's an explosive downhill guard. He's constantly moving towards the basket, and he fits the mold of what we need. At Washington, he showed flashes of elite burst and physicality. He got to the rim. He's a true attack guard. He's not a finesse player. We've seen more finesse over the last couple of years. He pressures the paint constantly, creates and collapse situations for defenses. And what Mark Pope likes about him is pretty simple. He can create offense without needing a screen-heavy system. Over the last couple of years, we have had some guards who are adequate at passing, but they needed a screen-heavy system at the top of the key, and we don't have to worry about that. And Kentucky struggled at times last year with guards in that position.
And looking at his plays, he reminds us of Otega Owe.
He does.
The way he drives, he's got the midcourt shot like he hit right there. He's not afraid of contact at all. And with being a good free throw shooter, this is going to be he'll get plenty of playing time, and his aggression will get him to the free throw line a lot.
The other thing I think is important about this is that he has a maturity factor that you will see with him. The difference between him and Otega Owe, they're both driving guys to the basket. The difference is he is a pure point guard, whereas Owe was more of a swing man in the way that he played. Yeah. I also think the other thing that we have to keep a look at, and something that is going to be unique to this team as opposed to the last 2 years, is that we will have a true backcourt. You know, two guys who are a point guard, a shooting or a combo guard, but also two guys who are very tall for a backcourt. I mean, we're looking at 6'5" and 6'4" at our backcourt.
Yeah, Wilkins. You got video on him. He's a 6'5" guard from Furman, and average almost 18 points a game. Which, you know, we're bringing a bunch of scores into this year, where the players coming in are going to average about 84 points a game. We hadn't seen that in a long time at UK, where we got that many points coming in. He's at 18 points a game, 4.7 assists. So another guy that's a good passer. 46% from the field, 33 from three-point line, and another good free throw shooter at 83%. He played 35 games. He was All Southern Conference player as a true freshman. So I think we've got another winner that's not afraid to bang and not afraid to go at the goal to drive the basket. And then he can pass off the drive, which, you know, he's got the eyes in the back of his head where he can see where his players are, to throw to each corner for a three-point attempt, which we're loaded with three-point shooters too.
This may quietly end up being one of the most important additions on the roster. He's actually bigger than Zoom Diallo. He's an inch taller. He's about the same weight, but he's a little bit taller. And he obviously has a perimeter shooting ability, but he has decision making, and he's a secondary ball handler while you're on the court. Last year there were times when we obviously injuries played into this, but you had situations where Denzel Aberdeen was having to play a significant amount of minutes to essentially be the ball handler between him and Owe coming up the court, and that starts to wear on you when you don't have a secondary ball handler.
Yeah, and they won't be able to focus on Diallo because with Wilkins and other players we got at the guard position we'll talk about later, they can all bring the ball up the floor. So it's not going to be just trap one player like they did last year. And then and that's probably why Aberdeen left to go back to Florida, is we played him out of position for about 3/4 of the year.
That and money and other factors,
Well,
and
sure, yeah.
probably a comfortability standpoint as well. And of course, there was always the question of whether he was going to get the extra eligibility. But here you have a situation where Wilkins is not a flashy player, but he is incredibly steady. I liken him a little bit to Jalen Lowe in the sense that you're not going to get a ton of flash, but this kid is exactly what you need on winning teams in March. You need a secondary handler on the floor. He can play the either guard spot. He can space the floor, and he stabilizes possessions when games get chaotic. And obviously, that's something that does matter.
Yeah, and just to deviate for a second, we've got some remarks from Jake Cornette.
I see that.
This is another De'Aaron Fox
Yep.
in the making. Nobody says go Big Blue, and then says everyone in this year's draft is loaded, and NBA draft, I'm always talking about it, and I agree, but none of them talk about all the guys coming back to college because of it. And we don't really know yet, because it'll make next year's draft just as good.
I will say that that's a very good point. There's a ton of guys coming back because these are guys, even a Malachi Moreno, who we'll talk about a little later, who in several of the drafts in the last 10 years, he probably would have been a top 10 prospect. Just to be quite honest, because this is such a deep draft that the fact that he's even being talked about in the top 30 is quite surprising. But I think we're going to have to wait and see who all is coming back. I think there will be guys in the next 2 weeks who will bounce out of the NBA draft who we were not expecting, simply because.
And that's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. It's absolutely
not a good thing for UK anyway, because the more that come out, the higher Moreno moves up in the draft and the bigger the money is on the contract.
That's absolutely true. Something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. We then move on. If I can get my screens all right here. Goodness gracious. We then move on to.
You there?
Well, yeah. Can you
go?
We have Jerome Morton, Mason Williams. Let's go to Mason Williams here. Mason Williams, obviously the son of Mo Williams, NBA guard. He is coming in here. He is essentially our one guy out of high school that is probably going to get any significant minutes. Tell us a little bit about what you know about Mason Williams.
Yeah, there's not a lot because he didn't play college basketball last year, but he's a 6'3", 4-star guard from Tennessee Collegiate Academy. I didn't see a lot of video on him, but again, another aggressive driver. That's what I like about all the guards we got this year. These guys are not afraid to mix it up with the other teams, and it's going to show. Yeah, good. I'm glad you got some video.
Yeah, I got a little bit of video.
He's a good shooter. Obviously, his dad, being an NBA champion, has trained him well. Knows, probably showed him a lot of NBA offensive plays that he did. Good shooter.
I will also say that
I don't know how far from how he is from 3-point land or nothing.
I will say this: it's good to have a freshman that you don't have to come in and put him immediately into the starting lineup
for once.
He's a 4-star recruit, 4-star recruit, depending on who you're looking at.
Yeah.
But he's not incredibly tall. He's not going to be a 6'5", 6 guard. He's 6'3". He can shoot the rock, as you can see from the highlights here. A lot of these highlights and a lot of things we learned about these kids are from AAU tournaments and things where they play in. He's not a rim rocker. He's not a guy who's going to come in here and dunk the basketball. He's a shooter combo guard here as well. So I think.
Do you know anything about defense?
All I know is that
I couldn't find anything.
All I could find in some of the forums that I was in is he's not the guy you would line up first on their number 1 point guard.
Okay.
So, hopefully that they will use the spacing to be able to help him get better at defense. He's not incredibly fast, but he's consistent. I mean, he's a good passer, as you just saw right there. And of course, he's got the pedigree. He's, his dad knows how to play the game, and
he grew up in the NBA.
He absolutely did. And he grew up on NBA courts. I have seen some some photos and videos of him when he was a kid, on the court, these NBA courts and stuff. And obviously, his dad joining the coaching staff as well is going to be a big deal. And perhaps, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. And I see some other folks who are joining the chat here. The other thing about this kid that is really important is that his dad is potentially the gatekeeper to a bunch of other kids. That he coached
Right.
a bunch of kids in the high school ranks. He coached a bunch of kids in the AAU ranks, and this kid is this guy, as Mo Williams, has a lot of cred with these kids, and that's going to be
Huge.
bringing
Yeah.
these other kids in here, including some of the kids in the very next year of recruits that we'll be looking at.
Well, there he blocked a shot from 3-point
Yeah.
land. And the thing with him being 6'2" or 6'3", we don't know what his real height is, but there's the possibility he could grow a couple inches over the summer.
Yeah.
Even because you see those some guys,
18-year-old kids, right? Yeah, they're all
still growing, and you see some players that from senior to college they'll go from 6'2" to 6'8".
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not gonna do that because his dad's not that tall.
He's not. I think what you will see is a development here. You'll probably see a kid who probably starts out at 5 minutes a game or something, and maybe moves up to 10 minutes. But listen, if you can spell your front two starters and at least let them get a breather, even better, right? I mean, that's really what matters.
They can be more aggressive. Our starters can be more aggressive because we've actually got good backups at every position.
We absolutely do,
depending on whether Moreno comes back or not.
Well, we won't jump there yet, but let's hope. We also have Jerome Morton, who will be joining the lineup. He is obviously originally at Morehead State University. Originally, he's at George Rogers Clark. Played in the Sweet 16. A great high school player here in Kentucky, and then has gone to Morehead State, and then he went to Washington State, and now is joining the Wildcats. He has said that playing for Kentucky is a dream come true. So I think that's very fun to hear from these kids that want to be here. And here's hoping that will that he'll be able to add to what we already have in the backcourt. So you essentially have 4 guys in the backcourt who can play immediately, 2 immediate starters and 2 guys, solid backups in Jerome Morton.
Yeah, he's 6'4", so he's another tall guard.
Yep.
And he's played point guard and guard, mostly guard though, mostly a shooting guard. From Washington State Cougars, like you said, 8 points a game, 2 rebounds a game, 3 assists, 44% from field goals, and 39 from 3-point land, and another good free throw shooter at 82%. Started 29 of the 32 Washington State Cougar games, so he's got game experience, and I'm sure they played University of Washington too. So he's probably played against Diallo and how you pronounce his name? Kepnang.
Frank Kepnang.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah, and so those 3 will know each other pretty well and maybe work together better. But I'm loving the guards that we got this year.
And we're not even done yet because we have another player.
Darn, where'd he go?
Look, there I am. We also have Zion Hawthorne. I'm trying to run everything as I'm also.
Yeah, I know. We got to get us a producer. If you're interested in being a producer,
come
on our podcast, let me or Kyle know.
Yeah, let us know because we have the technology. Sometimes we run out of hands. So, but Zion Hawthorne, the brother of Braden Hawthorne, is joining the team. He is a point combo guard. He's going to be our smallest guard that's on the bench, and he actually might redshirt. There's been some talk this might actually happen, but he's a point combo guard. He's 6'2", 150 pounds. There is so little film on this guy that the most film that I found was 24 seconds at a prep league. He did score 10 points on average his senior year, and he's 1,000-point scorer in high school. That's what I got on Zion.
And his brother's 6'8".
Yep.
He's 6'2", so hopefully he's got some growing to do too. But he only comes in at 150 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah,
So we're gonna have to feed him
life
some.
pill.
Guess what we're gonna feed him, Kyle? Some Da Vinci's pizza
Da Vinci's
and
Pizza.
some ice cream.
Yeah.
And, but I couldn't find a whole lot on him either, other than his brother, and he's got the ability to grow. So we'll just hope that.
Well, and the other thing,
You say he might redshirt this year?
they might redshirt him this year. The other aspect of this is you need bodies in practice. You need bodies in practice to practice against these guys at the positions that they're at. There's 5 guys now in the backcourt, that are not just warm bodies. They can actually do this. I'm not listing Trent Noah as a guard at this point. He's 6'5", 220 pounds. I'm putting him in the forward position because he's lining up, as a shooter all the time anyway. He's not necessarily a ball handler. So you've got 5 guys solidly in the backcourt here. By the way, this section of the program is brought to you by Da Vinci's Pizza up here in the right-hand corner, because that's what we're going to be feeding this kid to get him a little bit bigger. But
Cam Williams.
Yeah. But in all reality, it's important to understand that it's good to just have guys who can practice against these dudes and run against them up and down the court and practice. So that's something to be looking forward to as well.
Yeah, and we're not always going to face tall guards.
That's
if
correct.
you got a small, quick guy, then this will force our guards, because I've heard players say they hate guarding people smaller than them. So if you're 6'5" guard and you're having to practice against a guy that's 6'2", but he's pretty fast, he's not lightning fast. But this will help the team grow too.
A lot of talk over the last few weeks about have to have Malachi Moreno. If Moreno's not there, who is the lifeline of the team? Who's the guy that is going to be the pulse? Who's going to lead this team?
Hi there.
Keep disappearing on everybody. I don't know how I keep doing that, but this is the guy right here. This, K-Smooth, Cam Williams. I think Cam is going to be the guy that is going to be the cornerstone of this team. As a lot of you all know, Cam was playing his best basketball this year at the time that he got injured.
Right.
I think he is a solid shooter. He was just learning how to shoot inside Rupp Arena when he had that foot injury. I think we are going to see more and more of Cam. Tell us a little bit about, I know you pulled stats on Cam and what you're looking for coming into this.
His his dad's on the Loyal BBN fan show.
He is
every Thursday. He was on again last night, and with Cam, 6'8", a true 6'8", and you see he's pretty solid. He was averaging 6 points a game, but that's a misnomer, because he's each game his playing, his minutes and his scoring was going up until he got hurt, which really hurt the team.
It did.
So last year there's not a lot of really spectacular stats, but with him being 6'8" and potentially could play a third guard.
Well, the
forward position.
He can. And the other thing a lot of people forget about Cam Williams is that Cam Williams has a 7-foot wingspan.
He's big.
We are going to have a very, very long team this year. And I think there's 5 guys on the team that have 6'11" or 7-foot or longer wingspan on this team. So you have real rim protectors. You have real defenders that could absolutely prevent, any passing to the inside. It's going to be very interesting to see the defensive breakdown of these guys and what that means for the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Because Pope runs off a defense that pushes the offense, right? It goes all the way back to Patino. Your defense pushes the offense. Last year we were not getting defensive stops and we were not getting turnovers. So your fast breaks don't start if you don't get those turnovers. So it will be interesting to see how that works. I think Cam Williams is absolutely going to be the heartbeat of this team, regardless of whether Moreno comes back. Even if Moreno comes back, it's a great 2 corners of that team. But I think Cam Williams is going to be great. By the way, Cam Williams' dad, Greg, as you mentioned, the two of you have talked back and forth. He has said that he is willing to come down to Da Vinci's Pizza here in Frankfurt, and we are going to have a live broadcast if we can work that out. Make sure that happens
around the June time frame. So we hope that'll happen. And he said that him him and Cam are pizza connoisseurs, so
Right,
it's
that's
gonna
right.
be on us to produce some good pizza, and maybe he'll, might bring some other players with him. Who knows? But Cam Williams is we know he's a good shooter because he went 21 of 22 from the free throw line last year. He shot 95%.
Right.
And if you've got that kind of form that you can shoot that well, when he gets out wide in the corner, when one of our guards drives and pitches out to him, I think he'll do really well from the 3-point line. Plus, on the rebounds, we got out rebounded so many times last year.
Yeah,
With the guys we got now, I don't think we'll get out rebounded 5 games.
you shouldn't, especially considering that we'll average 6'6" to 6'7" on the court at all times. I mean,
Yeah, on all 5 positions.
yeah, at all 5 positions, and so you have to take that into account that rebounding is going to be better. Your defense just by default has to be better than it was. I think all of us were frustrated with our perimeter defense over the last couple of games, especially playing against Iowa State and Santa Clara.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that as well. Obviously, since we're talking about Cam, we're talking about our forwards at this point. This is where I'm gonna bring our discussion about Trent Noah in. Trent is a fan favorite from the sense that he's a Kentucky boy, and Trent brings a level of toughness and energy and rebounding and shooting potential. He understands how to play within this system. Pope obviously trusts him at times because he competes constantly. He's also one of those players that listen. Trent can swing momentum, and it's potentially one of the biggest factors that Trent could bring to this team is Trent hits 2 3-pointers in a game in a row. It changes the entire game. Trent missed 2 3-pointers in a row, and then you wonder why he's not guarding a guy down on the other end.
Right.
And so
It messes with his mind if he misses a couple shots. And I don't know if Pope tells him, keep firing them up. That's what Patino would do, and that's what Cal would do. Say, if you miss 2, shoot 5 more.
Right. So it's gonna be very interesting to see the mentality and the maturity growth in Trent and his game. There's not going to be as much pressure on Trent to necessarily be obviously not a starter, but this is a guy who can earn his spot back by being in the practices and working these other dudes. But man, I'm telling you, he is a momentum shifter. If we can get him to be the Cameron Mills of this team, and a lot of you who remember from 96 to 98, Cameron Mills and Scott Padgett, if those dudes could hit a couple of threes, all of a sudden it completely changed the momentum of what was happening with the program. Regardless of whether you're down 18 to Duke, if you start hitting some threes, everybody starts feeling like they can do it. So Trent Noah is the Cameron Mills of this team,
and Cameron Mills is still world famous.
Absolutely,
everybody knows because he would come in and just completely fire up the crowd and fire up the team when he would hit 2 or 3 3-pointers, and he would dive for the ball and everything. But Trent, he would get down. It would appear his body language, if he missed a couple shots, would change. Hopefully he's got through that. He won't have to bring the ball up the floor at all this year.
Right.
So no more trapping him right before that half court line. And we know he can shoot because he scored just a bucket of points in high school.
Yeah.
The only drawback I see on him, he cannot get his shots off quick enough. We talked about that a little yesterday.
We did.
He needs to visit with the same coach that Reed Shepherd uses, where Reed Shepherd couldn't get his shot off in the first year in the NBA. Now he gets it off as fast as Steph Curry. I mean, as soon as it hits his hands, it's gone.
Well,
and he's as good a shooter.
He absolutely is. I mean, we know he is because he had the high school ability. Had Perry not been down at Lyon County, Trent Noah would have forever been
all-time scorer.
Got all those same records that Travis Perry got. So Trent Noah is a high school legend in the mountains.
Right.
We just need that to translate onto the floor, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm telling you, I believe Trent Noah, if he will just go back, Trent, if you'll watch Cameron Mills in the late 90s and what he did, that's your role. That's where you can succeed. And I think I think he'd actually be a little bit better than Cameron
Well,
Webb.
and one of our commenters said, "I've seen Trent Noah on the golf course. He's jacked now."
Well, that's good, and I'm
That's
glad
great.
somebody mentioned that because, me and my boys, in our group chat, we have said since February, Trent needs to hit the gym, and if he truly is 6'5", 220, and that's what UK's listing him right
Mhm.
now, if
Right.
that is not a soft 220, he could be, it could be interesting to see if he could get those shots up, so
Well, and think with having real guards now and having more than one guard, he will be able to just post up and get his shot off
yeah,
without having to drive around somebody or wait on a pick.
yeah.
This is going to be a huge change for him, and I think he might be a 10 point a game player if it gets hot.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I think there's something to be said that we're hoping that Trent will figure it out. Somebody mentioned in the chat here that Trent is a rebounding machine. I agree. If you know where the ball's going, you don't have to be 7 feet tall to be a
Yeah,
great rebounder. So
yeah.
um,
Just
let's
follow
hope.
your shot, like old school basketball, Larry Bird stuff. Follow your shot, and you'll get 2 or 3 extra shots a game.
Well, that's why Angel Reese is so good, right? Because she follows her shot, right?
No, those are called me bounds, not
Rebounds, right,
rebounds.
rebounds, right. I'm gonna move on to the guy that actually that I'm one of the guys I'm most excited about, is Braden Hawthorne. Braden Hawthorne coming back to the Cats. People don't understand how good Braden Hawthorne can be. Braden Hawthorne, Mr. Basketball in West Virginia. He's 6'8". Yes, he's 190 pounds. He has a 7'3" wingspan. I think he's taller than 6'8" now. I think he was still growing as well.
Yeah.
This kid's a real shooter. He is a difference maker when it comes to slashing to the basket. I think this is the silent weapon that we will have. And again, very little film on Braden, but I'm telling you, when you've seen him in warmups and the things that he can do, you are going to be very impressed with what Braden Hawthorne brings to the team. He got to spend an entire year, kind of learning the system and things of that nature under Mark Pope. Decided to come back. That we didn't lose anything by him staying. I felt like that was a big gift for us that he stayed. So I'm
Right.
really looking forward
I
to it.
agree.
Hawthorne is one of the mystery players on the roster. I will grant you that, but he has incredible length. His mobility is kind of unicornish. He has a shot making potential that people have seen, and fans really haven't seen him fully unleashed yet. If he develops into a rotational scoring forward, all of a sudden Kentucky suddenly becomes extremely deep on the wing, Craig.
Well, and look at the size of his hands on that basketball.
Yeah.
If he's got the acrobatics of your typical forward, he's going to put up some really exciting shots. And I've read that he's a good 3-point shooter. Can't find no video on it, and obviously being a red shirt last year, we don't have any stats from last year. But I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I want to see the blue-white game when it comes up and see how he moves with the team. But being slender, not real thick,
Well,
I bet he's pretty darn fast.
190 pounds at
Yeah,
6'8" is
yeah,
there's gonna have to be some Da Vinci's pizza eaten there because
yeah.
that
I think, but he
meat
should be
lover.
fairly quick.
Yeah. No, he absolutely is, and I think that's one of the things that we're gonna have to see what happens there. I'm actually looking very forward to it. Let's move on to somebody we do know a little bit about. We're gonna talk about Justin McBride. Craig, tell me a little bit about
Oh,
what you know.
my. Yeah, what a get for us. 6'4", another, I'm sorry, 6'7" to 6'8" on different things that I found. Played for James Madison last year, averaged 15 points a game, 6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, a 50% field goal shooter, 40% from 3-point line, and 78% from free throw, and started 30 of 31 games last year. So he got tons of minutes. He's got tons of games action, not against, the powerhouse teams, but James Madison in the past have knocked off some good D1 teams.
They have, and the thing you have to understand about this is that you needed guys who are willing to go to the basket. There was a lot of hype around there was a lot of hype about Mo Diabate coming to Kentucky, but
Yeah.
in the end, there were times where Mo kind of faded away. You didn't see him. You didn't see where he went. I don't think you're going to have that with Justin McBride. I don't think you're going to have that with a lot of these guys. And one of the things that you guys, everybody watching, should be very excited about. I don't know how many times I yelled at Brandon Garrison and others to just dunk the dang ball last year.
How could you be that tall and be a foot away from the basket and not just break the rim in half?
Yeah. You're going to have some rim rockers on this team. You're going to have some guys who are not afraid to go up and
so you had 3-pointer there.
Yeah, and slam that ball. So, I mean, I think there are things that, look, you'll actually dunk the ball and you won't miss a layup. So I'm pretty excited about Justin McBride. We talked about how important it was. And Justin McBride said coming to Kentucky is a dream come true. Those are the guys that you want at the University of Kentucky.
Exactly.
And I'm super excited about him coming. Regardless, I don't care what people say about mid-major, this, that, and the other. I always go back to it. Yaxel Linenborg for the University of Michigan last year. The man played at Western Arizona. Then he went to UAB.
Where? Where'd you say?
Exactly. Western Arizona and University of Alabama, Birmingham. Two very major programs.
Yeah.
And then he becomes one of the best players, if not the best player in college basketball last year. So don't give me that garbage. Well, they played at a garbage school. So these kids are developing. They're getting bigger and better. And I am excited about Justin McBride. I think it's going to be very important that he is very involved in our rebounding and our physicality. I think Kentucky's going to be physical underneath. I think you're going to have to be to compete in the SEC.
And divert a little bit as we go through the players and you see the video, the stats, their weight, how good of shooters they are, their defensive abilities. So many people have ragged on this team.
Yeah.
They put them down. I mean, the comments are crazy. And Greg Williams, Cam's dad, we've said, Kyle and I've said this before, that the players see it and the parents see it, and the other coaches have used that against us. So I really think once the fans look at these players, go in depth, maybe watch our podcast 2 or 3 times and understand the numbers that these guys can put up, because we're coming in with 84 points a game. I don't remember that ever happening at UK.
Yeah.
We'll go through their high points, their all-time high point scored for some of these players, and that totaling just a high game, that's 193 points off these guys if you put every high game together.
Sure.
So this is gonna be a surprise team, and folks, let me tell you, get on the bandwagon now.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a different team that you've seen with Kentucky in the last few years. Listen, we all understand you're upset Tyron Stokes didn't sign. You're upset with the fact that you feel like there were maybe some whiffs in here. Pope went out and got guys that he absolutely felt were going to fit into his type of rotation and his type of scheme. And then if you get a couple other, big names in there, great. But he is also bringing in some really interesting international talent. We'll move on to looking at that right now. This guy is the unicorn. I'm telling y'all right now, there's so much talent right here. Oh my gosh, did you see him dunk that ball?
Tell him who he is.
This is Usman Njai. He is our international swing piece. UK announced him as a signee, and with Vanoli Cremona, he averaged almost 10 points a game. And you're just glad I'm having to read that part. 9.8 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1 steal a game while shooting, get this, Craig, 31% from 3-point. It's intriguing.
At 6'11".
At 6'11", and people are saying that he's actually taller than that. It's intriguing because he's not just a backup to the basket big. He has size. He has international experience. He can rebound. He has at least some shooting touch. I'm just going to tell you all, the way they play in Europe, they don't have your traditional centers a lot of time. And so they have these big guys, 6'9", 6'10", who can pass, who can shoot threes, who can do all these other things. And this is the kind of player who could look rough in November as he's kind of learning American basketball. But come February, I'm telling you, it would not shock me if this guy pulls out an 18-point, 20-point game out of nowhere.
He like you said, he averaged 10 points a game. But the thing with guys this big is the amount of minutes they get. In the 28 games he played in Italy, he averaged 27 minutes a game. So if he comes off the bench and he gets hot, and I want to say I've read one NBA forecast on him today, and they were kind of down on him. Said he's got great highlights, but that's all he's got. And you got to look at it different. If this guy can shoot off a 1 foot inside and he can hit 3-pointers, hit the fadeaway,
yeah,
that's not just getting lucky.
No,
this guy. If you watch his follow through on that shot, this guy can shoot.
I mean, it's clear that he's got talent.
He's just not thick.
Yeah. Again, the Da Vinci's Pizza diet that you need to put on these guys is going to be
some Hoggies ice cream, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, and some Hoggies ice cream,
or Taylor Bell.
Right, they're out there too. But I will tell you, it's important that we get these guys right here too, who are mysteries in the sense that there's not a lot of game film on them, because now we can develop these guys into exactly what Pope wants. But this guy is playing against professionals in Europe, so you can get down on him all you want, but he's not playing against Bellarmine, right? I mean, he's playing. That's not a knock on Bellarmine. My daughter goes to Bellarmine. She's an athlete at Bellarmine, so don't be mad at me, Bellarmine. But
you better delete that one.
Yeah. But he's playing against other professionals. He's playing against grown men, and he's not playing against 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. So I think this guy could be kind of a quiet.
And in those videos, you didn't see him lumbering up and down the court.
No.
He was getting it up and down the court. And another thing with European players, they focus on the long shots. They focus on the 3-pointers, because when you see the European players come to the NBA, they are not afraid to launch 3-pointers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and that opens up underneath, so we can get more rebounding, because it pulls their big out.
Yep.
To have to guard our big that's bombing away from 3-point land.
Yeah. Now we'll save Moreno for last, because we'll talk about that and what our thoughts are and whether he'll stay or go. But let's talk about who is your true backup center, who they just signed. Big signing.
Big. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Frank Kepnang gives Kentucky experience and rim protection. He is coming to us by way of the Washington Huskies. His teammate Zoom Diallo is on the team as well. Probably had a difference in bringing him here. Last season, he averaged 6.2 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 21 blocks per game while starting 25 of 27 games.
Back up what you said there. 21 blocks per game, 2.1.
2.1 blocks per game. Sorry, my mouth.
We're getting too excited for all this big blue action. We're going to be
my mouth is moving faster than my brain, which is fairly typical if you ask my wife. But this is a real backup center. He's not here to take 15 shots a game, right? He's here to protect the rim when your main center's out. He's going to rebound. You know that. He's going to set screens. He's going to finish if he gets the ball underneath. And he's got 5 fouls to absorb in the SEC minutes, right? And that's what matters. If Moreno gets in trouble, or whoever's playing center at the time, and you need a more physical defensive look. I mean, think about having somebody like this while we were playing against Florida or Alabama this year.
And he's 250 pounds.
Yeah, this is the man's.
And like on that dunk right there, he went in. There was nothing else on his mind but a dunk.
Yeah,
and he's shooting 52% from the field, and look how fast he gets up and down the court, and he's still shooting 52%. So let's see what it's got. 25 starts in 27 games. Led the Big Ten in blocks. I think he had 3 games. No, he had 6 games with over 3 blocks a game, and he had 3 games with 6 blocks a game.
Yeah.
That alone with him underneath will cause the guards that are driving to redirect their shots, which could be the potential of another player coming in, another one of our 6'10" guys, to come in and block the shot. And underneath, our defense underneath is just looking super good.
Listen, I was you and I have talked about this before, but our defensive scoring or defensive ability underneath the rim, you're not going to be giving up 50 points under the rim, right? You're
No,
not even
this
going to
year.
give up 20 points usually on nights like this. Not just because they're more physical, but because these guys get to the rim, they block shots, and they're physical. I mean, I'm just going to say it. You know,
Right.
you're going to
And
have
we
15
haven't had
fouls.
that under Pope yet.
No, we have not. I haven't had that opportunity to be able to use that. You know, I think at the end of the day, a Frank Kepnong, listen, and we've heard all of the folks online and also all the social media buzz and everything else that you got a guy who had 6.2 points a game. What are you excited about? He's not our starting center. Okay, he's not
Right.
going to be our
It might
starting.
be.
He might be, but I don't think we really believe that's going to happen.
Look
If he
at that.
does, we'll
That's a chase down block.
yeah. But this is your backup who is averaging 6, 6, and 2, right?
Yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
to have a backup center average 6, 6, and 2.
Yeah.
Your backups are averaging 3, 2, and 2, right? 3, 2, and 0.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's be real about that. So, that's exciting. I believe this is an exciting get for the Cats.
Yeah, he's quick off his feet. If you're watching this video, you can see how fast he is getting off his feet to go around another player to block the offensive player, block the shot offensive player. And he's got good eyes on him. And I'm a lot of people ragged on this, like you said. I am super excited we got this guy.
I am too. The other thing about this, and I'm just gonna say how it is. This is his
Look at
seventh.
his arms.
This is his 7th year in college. Okay,
Yeah, he's a man.
he is 25 years old. I mean, I
Yeah.
think Calipari said something about this, and a couple of times in press conferences. You know, you're gonna have guys who, you know, are on their second marriage and thing by the time they're
Yeah,
done here.
but he had 2 medical redshirt years.
He had
This isn't
medical
like
red shirts, but he's
this isn't
healthy now.
coronavirus thing.
No, yeah, this kid's healthy at this point, and
'Cause
but he's physically different than an 18-year-old kid coming in to play
Yeah,
against.
the first 2 years, I think he played maybe 6 games a year and then had those injuries and got he was just 1 game under the medical redshirt ability.
Yeah.
But last year he played 25 and, you know, look at the
Started
size of his
25, he
arms.
played all 27, but he
Yeah,
started
he started 20 and look at his arms.
Yeah.
He gets a hold of a basketball, they ain't nobody gonna knock it out of his hands.
No, not at all. Not
He's
at
got
all.
those big LeBron James knobby shoulders. This guy is strong.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to another Kentucky kid, somebody that we're all looking forward to, Reese Potter. Reese Potter is the size and skill depth piece potentially that we were looking at here. He didn't play last season, but he remains listed among Kentucky returners. But he's 7 foot range. He's in that 7 foot range. His value is really simple. If he can stretch the floor and hold up defensively, he gives Pope another lineup option. But realistically, on this roster, he's probably fighting for situational minutes right now. But that being said, if you're fighting for situational minutes and you're 7 feet tall, good on you, right? I mean, you can't teach size, so that's something to be excited about.
And UK, go ahead.
I also want to point out he played at Miami of Ohio, but this is a Lexington, Kentucky kid. You know, I mean, this is a kid who is a Kentucky kid who everybody is looking forward to him coming back and actually succeeding. Let's hope that Reese can put it all together, but he's going to be playing against guys. And once again, I'm going to go back to what I talked about earlier with our guards. If you have guys who can practice against you, who are tall and have length, that makes you better in games. And I think that's the most important thing at this point. Your thoughts on that?
Well, who did he practice against last year? He practiced against Moreno
right,
all year. And even though he was a red shirt, he's not a bad outside shooter from some of the Miami of Ohio video I saw. So he can stretch the floor again, pulling another of the team's big men out to guard him. If he gets if he's got a 6'4" guard on him or 6'5" guard on him, he can easily get his shot up. So he will be playing situational minutes too, but he's put on weight. You can see the size of him. His arms aren't beam poles like the 150-pound centers usually are. I mean, 190-pound centers.
190-pound centers.
Yeah, 190 pounds. 190 sounds like a lot, but for
I'm a 190-pound point guard is
Yeah.
what I'm at, so
right.
yeah.
And so, I'm not seeing a weak player on this whole roster. I'm not saying we'll have a big loss. If Pope, got angry for once, which would be the first time, if he got angry and pulled all 5 starters out and put 5 new guys in, we wouldn't miss that much because we'll still be tall, we'll still be fast.
I believe that come January, when you're playing in the SEC against teams like Missouri and Vandy and
Arkansas, Florida,
Florida, Georgia, you're gonna be able to go a 4-minute span with your backups in. Now we're not gonna do platoon like we did with Calipari, but
Yeah.
you can wholesale sub guys with this and not lose a ton, right? I just believe that. But let's get to the centerpiece here, and this is the key piece. I mean, we're gonna say it right now. Malachi Moreno is the one we are treating as back tonight. Okay, I genuinely believe this. From what I am hearing from folks who know, that Malachi Moreno will be back, and I will tell you this: 3 of the people that I talked to saw mock drafts from teams, and he was not in the top 25. All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so because of that, it appears that from my perspective, and again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I will tell you, I've been watching this a long time, and yes, it's a lot closer than we all want to believe. But I genuinely think that he will be back. He averaged 7.8 points per game last season. He has been publicly listed as testing the NBA draft waters, as we know. But if he comes back, when he comes back, let's be positive, Kentucky has a legitimate anchor on this team. He gives you size, rim protection, rebounding, the passing feel that you need in this offense, and a real Kentucky developed big man. I mean, this is a great crossing Warhawk.
Georgetown.
Right out of Georgetown. He's not just tall. He understands angles. He understands timing. And I'm telling you, him playing in the NBA draft and playing some of the, I know he didn't play 5-on-5, but he is working out for some of these teams. This is going to be so good for Kentucky next year. He is seeing how his mind is opening up. This is a 19-year-old kid. He's learning what is expected of him, and that is going to be so big. His post touches are going to be better. He has high post passing that's great. And I'm telling you, he was a good blocker last year. You haven't seen anything yet. If Moreno is back, Kentucky's floor rises immediately into a top 15 team. Whether Momcilovic joins the team or not, I believe that they are a top 15 team simply because of the experience that he has at the position.
Yeah, and remember, Moreno was not targeted to play much last year.
No.
He got forced learned in-game play how to play against these college athletes, and as the year went along, he became better and better. I've seen a couple mock drafts that he's in the 15 to 20 range, which worries the heck out of me, selfishly, as a UK fan. We all want him to do good, but just as a UK fan, in the 15 to 20 range, that's $7-8 million a year. But the NBA team that worries me the most is the New York Knicks. After they, my prediction to you, Kyle, was they're going to be the NBA champion this year. But they'll be picking in 30.
I hope you put money on that so that.
No, I don't bet my money. I work too hard to get it.
Smart man.
But 30, 31, 32 pick. If he goes that late, we're looking at some G League time. I don't know if he'd want to do that. And the money drops a lot after 25. So if we use some of that Tyrion Stokes money up and throw $5 million or $6 million at him, even though I hate NIL, but if they throw that kind of money at him, one more year of development could put him as a top 10 draft pick next year. And then you're talking, even at the 8th spot, you're talking 10 or 11 million a year guaranteed for 4 years.
Well,
$40-some million. So one more year at Kentucky. And, looking at his stats, he's also listed at 250, and hopefully he'll get up to 260 or something this year. And He got a lot of. He was our leading rebounder at 6.3. But the thing that I liked was he was a 60% shooter.
Absolutely, he finishes at the rim.
Yeah, that's great, and played in 36. Well, we were 20, so he played in every game. And if the NBA scouts are right, we might lose him. But looking at the other stuff, not the scouts, because the scouts don't know crap. Hell, they mean, they do know stuff, but looking realistically at the teams and how the playoffs are going right now and the teams that he's working out for right now, he's looking to be a late first-round pick. I hope these other drafts, mock drafts that got him at 15 and 16, I hope they're false.
Well, I think, I mean, I've watched a lot of the draft combine stuff and a lot of the guys who are following each of the teams. And somebody said in the comments here, nobody's saying exactly who they're going to draft. You're absolutely right, but you know who the top 30 players are. I mean, you just do, even, and you know what teams need and things of that nature. I think it would be great if Moreno comes back. I think it'd be great for him if he goes to the NBA, make that bag, but you're going to make more money next year at the University of Kentucky because you're not going to be a lottery pick. There's no way I believe that he'd be a lottery pick, but
nobody's got him there.
But if you're not going to be a lottery pick and you're in that second tier, you're at least going to be competitive at the University of Kentucky for money, if not making more money. But I get it. If your goal is to make the NBA and you can make the NBA, good on you. Money's once you achieve certain levels of money, it's just money. So I think that's important. But I'm telling you right now, Malachi, if you're watching, I know that some of the kids that we know. I'm telling you right now, you would be a legend. You would be you'd be in that category of guys who came back to the University of Kentucky, and you would never hurt for work. You could open up your own. I know Tony Delk had the MRI thing, and Mashburn sold cars. You can do whatever you want for the rest of your life
in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Yeah,
in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and I'm telling you, selfishly, I want you to come back because I'm a University of Kentucky alumnus and also somebody who follows the team and somebody who worked for the athletic department. I'm telling you very much that I would like you to come back. I also understand you have to take care of your family and everything else, but goodness gracious, this could be a good team if Malachi Moreno comes back.
I'm sure he's got insurance on his playing career.
Sure.
And the thing, if he's a 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 pick, and he comes back to UK and we throw $5 million at him, some are saying $3 to $4 million. We throw $5 million at him, then he becomes a top 10 pick. Now you're talking huge. You're talking generational money then for his first 4-year contract. And if he makes it through those first 4 years and does well, now you're moving up to $30 million a year. So this 1 year, whoever's advising him financially, if you do the short-term, easy money thing, he'll make $2 or $3, $4 million a year, play in the G League.
Yep. Or
play one more year at Kentucky.
Yep.
Get all the national exposure, play against a lot of great players that will be drafted in the NBA. And then he becomes, there's no doubt in my mind, he'll be a top 10 pick next year in the NBA.
Agree. It's going to be a much weaker draft.
Right.
Not to say that he wouldn't do it even if it was a tough draft next year, but I'm telling you, you go from a stacked draft this year, all of a sudden,
4 potential number 1 picks.
You're right now. You would not get fired as a GM picking any of the top 4. That rarely happens. I'm thinking of the 84 draft and things like that. That very rarely do you see.
Right. And Washington's looking at trading their pick for a whole basket of other picks.
Well, it's entirely possible because that's how badly Utah wants AJ Debonsa. But we'll talk about that on another night. Let's talk about the big name that's still out there, and that is Milan Momcilovic. He averaged 16.9 points, 3.1 rebounds, for Iowa State last year while shooting 50.6% from the field. And this is at 48.7% from 3. He's a sniper. And he is the missing piece. I told you that I thought we'd be a top 20 team if Moreno comes back. if you add Momcilovic, all of a sudden, all of the whining and crying that has been going on by the fan base and everybody else, whether deserved or not, you're adding that elite shooter and scorer, and then you're in a totally different ballgame. I will say this, that late this afternoon, it came across via the Herald Leader that Momcilovic said, "I think Kentucky would be a good fit. I feel like I'd be a great player for him," talking about Mark Pope, "and he'd be a good coach for me." Now, that doesn't give us any information about whether he's actually coming back, but it does give the indication that Momcilovic is actually considering the option of coming to Kentucky if he comes back. Now, I understand, and everyone's going to be making comments in the chat, that we're not that team, that right now it's UConn or it's Michigan or it's those guys down the road, down 64 at the University of Louisville. Number one, I don't know where the University of Louisville is getting all this money. I don't know if
Papa John's,
if they robbed a Brinks truck or what's going on. But also, they don't have any room on their bench. Like, all of a sudden, they went from like having 2 guys signed to like having 16 guys on the team.
Right. Where are they going to get their minutes?
Yeah, there's literally no minutes. So I don't see that. I know that Pitino and Calipari have also been mentioned in the Momcilovic things. I think St. John's has the room and the money. Obviously, that is a concern. I don't know about you. Anytime that Rick Pitino is mentioned right now, it gives me concern. But this dude playing at Rupp Arena in front of 22,000 screaming, adoring fans. You thought things were good in Ames, Iowa. You don't even understand what's happening when you come to the University of Kentucky.
And this is the first time the word Kentucky has publicly come out of his mouth.
Correct.
He is, he said again on the ESPN yesterday and the day before, he is totally focused on the NBA draft. He's not looking back at college. I didn't know this today. I'm glad you found it.
Yeah.
He's not mentioned Kansas. He's not mentioned Michigan. And he's not mentioned North Carolina.
No,
that's just the sports pundits doing that. But this is the first time that I've seen him utter the words Kentucky. So that's looking pretty darn good.
Yeah. I will also say that if you ask any of the pundits, don't ask him where you think he's going. Ask him where the best fit would be from all of the guys at ESPN and the guys at On3 and all Field of 68. They will all tell you the best fit is Kentucky because you are going to open that space up. You have Diallo. If Moreno comes back, it's a no-brainer. Now, there's a lot of other factors that come into play. Is it Coach Pope? Is it the system? Is it the other guys on the team? Is it money? I mean, all these things that you used to not think about at the University of Kentucky, we have to think about at this point. And does he fit into that area? He's a true stretch forward. He is elite shot-making ability, late clock offense, just unbelievable. This guy seems to nail everything within 3 seconds of the shot clock.
Yeah.
And he has a gravity that opens the floor for Diallo. He's on the floor. All of a sudden, you got 2 guys running at him, and then you've got this slashing point guard that's going to be scoring for you. So,
and he'd open the weak side 3,
100%,
because they're going to have to guard him. But think about this back to Pope playing.
Right,
Pope 6'10". He played underneath mostly. Momcilovic.
I'm going to make you do that fast every day.
He plays mostly outside, but in the NBA, he'll have to drive to the basket. Maybe Pope can work with him on that because people don't remember, but Pope played in the NBA a few years with Indiana. And so he might get a little banging under there with the coach. He'll certainly get banging with the other players underneath. And with our 6'5" guards, our wing players, shooters all, Cam Williams and everybody, man, I don't see how anybody can talk down on this team, even if Moreno don't come back. But it's going to be an exciting year, and get ready to jump on the Big Blue bandwagon. Don't start crying after the first game they lose. Don't say, we screwed up again. Pope's got to be fired. That stuff has got to stop. It's hurting next year's recruiting and the year after that recruiting when the fans kill our own team. There are, as Greg Williams, as Cam's dad says, they're already getting fussed at by the players in the opposing arenas. They're getting fussed at by the coach on the other team. The other players are talking smack to them. We don't need our fans doing the same thing on social media, at booing them at the game.
Yeah.
I hope I never see that the rest of my life. We have got to support the team so that it'll help Coach Pope bring these type of players in year after year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the interesting thing about these 13 guys, and obviously, again, we have Malachi Moreno in there as these 13. We both believe that he'll be back. Not because he's not good enough to play in the NBA. We think that
it's the right move.
It's the right move. And Kentucky has a great foundation. Are they missing that one last big piece potentially? I think that's fair to say that without Momcilovic, they are probably not deep March ready. I think they're still a top 20 team. But I think with Momcilovic, all of a sudden you are more of a modern college basketball roster construction. And I think it can work that way. And I think that at that point, if he joins, it truly is going to make a huge difference at the team.
Let me go quickly over the scoring ability of these players. I looked up their all-time collegiate scoring highs. Moreno's is 18. Cam Williams is 26. Noah's 16. Reese Potter had 19 points against Sacred Heart. Is that a university?
Yeah.
Because it's like a high school in Louisville. Zoom Diallo had 26. Alex Wilkins, 34 points. Morton had 21. McBride had 33. Kapang, Kim Nong.
Kepnong. You're not allowed to announce any of the games, by the way.
Yeah, Kepnong had 17. So, that's 193 points cumulative. These guys can shoot. They'll have hot nights. We don't have to have the same two guys get hot every night. We could have 9 different guys get hot and score over 20 points a game.
Well, think about last year. If Oweh was cold, we were in trouble.
We were screwed. That's right.
If he didn't score his average of 16.9 points a game, we were going to be in trouble that night. And we saw it. Yeah. We saw it against teams that we should have beat. And if he got cold, we were in real trouble. Yeah.
Well, then let's look at the schedule for next year. The official schedule's not out, but the holiday games are. And the one I'm looking forward to be like this, right at the beginning of the season, November 10, is we get to play Kansas, and we'll see what Tyran Stokes is really like.
Yeah.
With our big bodies underneath. I don't know that he faced anything like that in high school, but he's no doubt he'll probably be, right now, he's the number 1 pick in next year's draft. But we'll get to play him there in the United Center in Chicago. So trust me, there'll be 1 million UK fans just 5 hours away that we'll get to. And then December in the CBS Sports Classic, we get to play North Carolina at another all-time great venue at Madison Square Garden. 27th, we get to beat the crap out of Indiana. And we don't know yet.
Right now, Zach Rivers is throwing stuff at his team.
Yeah, I know.
Just say that.
That's part of why I said it. And then not decided yet. Likely December, we get Gonzaga for a payback game after they wiped the floor with us last year. And then the boys 70 miles up the road from UK, 50 miles from here, late November, early December probably. So we got some exciting games that'll be great experience for these guys going into the SEC regular season.
Yep.
And then the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. It's going to be a fun, exciting year.
Yeah, go ahead and make arrangements for Nashville. I know a lot of people last year were saying, "I'm not going back to Nashville. I'm not going to do the SEC tournament anymore." That's a joke. You're UK fans. You're going to go to Nashville. We need to stop that stuff. But this team's going to be competitive. We're not going to be in the bottom 8 of the SEC. This is going to be a competitive team. But here's the takeaway, Craig. This team has a real foundation. Diallo gives them speed. Wilkins gives them scoring and passing. McBride gives them a stretch forward. Moreno's going to give Kentucky the anchor inside that they need. Kepnang gives the rim protection and that extra, 5 fouls. Njai gives them that international upside that is I really believe you're going to enjoy seeing his game. And the freshmen give him long-term guard depth, but the difference between very good and Final Four good may still be out there in the portal or the NBA draft. And the name, obviously, to watch at this point is Milan Momcilovic. And I think that's going to be interesting to see. I think he will stay in the draft as long as possible, and they don't have to make an announcement until the 29th of May. So
May 27th.
Okay. So 2 weeks from now, and I think that it's going to make a big difference if other players come out, including the guard from Santa Clara, Alan Graves. That's another name to keep out there. He's very high on some NBA draft boards at this point, but right now he's focused heavily on the NBA draft. Duke and LSU are also involved with him. I think LSU has 1-2 players on their team right now.
They're going all NIL and maybe all international players, and their coach said that he's only going to pay for the top 8 players that are actually going to see 4 minutes. Said he's not paying for the other 7. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. Are they going to have open tryouts down there in Baton Rouge to try to see?
He might have to do it because he don't have anybody right now. He got 2 players. So I can't say how excited I'm going to be for this team next year.
Oh, I agree.
Once you start digging into it, most people don't. They just read the headlines.
Yep.
But once you start digging into these players, we're going to have us a good team next year.
I really believe that. I think the University of Kentucky, this is going to be the best roster that Mark Pope has had in his 3 years. I'm actually very excited about it. I'll be very honest with you. There were times this year where I didn't enjoy watching the games, but you watch the games anyway.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks who have commented on our stuff have said, listen, I don't necessarily want to jump on the players and things of that nature, but if they stop trying, then that's where, I start to get upset. I totally agree. The problem is that us booing collectively as a fan base,
it killed me.
It isn't going to fix the problem. There's a reason we don't storm the court at Rupp Arena, because we're different. And the same goes for how we treat our players, because we're different. And that is exactly how, this program needs to have class. And I'm not saying that the fans don't have a right to be upset, but we act differently than other programs. And so we need to remember that as Wildcat fans, that what we do now that we have social media and the ability to have programs like this and say what we want, it's very important that it's not just a positive attitude, and you don't have to have rose-colored glasses, but you play the next game. You show up to the next game and you get better each time. So I think that's exactly what I'm
in. Develop patience. UK fans, develop patience.
They don't know.
Momcilovic, I got it right there. Momcilovic said he's going to wait till the 27th.
Yep.
Moreno's camp said he's going to wait till the 27th. I don't know what the time, I don't know if it's 4 o'clock or midnight. I don't know when it is, but don't expect from those two until the 27th. So there's a lot of speculation. You're going to see all kinds of stuff just being regurgitated. Kyle and I wanted to really dive into stats because you get mostly opinion, but numbers are what wins ball games. And we wanted to really dive into it here. So just develop patience. We got till May 27. I know it's
Wednesday, May 27th at 11:59 p.m.
So it's midnight. Okay. So it could be a 9 p.m. announcement, and then I won't be able to get no sleep at night.
Because you'll just be thinking about what's going to happen with the game. We'll probably live stream if that happens. And
heck yeah.
So, Craig, anything else you want to add before we get out of here tonight?
No. Just, we appreciate, we had a lot of UK fans watching us tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're experimenting because we're only in our 4th week. We're still experimenting this podcast world. We're growing quickly. We might do some later in the evening shows just to see how those go.
Yep.
But stick with us. We're new to the technology. We're going to do election night coverage.
Yeah.
All sports on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And we're going to throw some graphics up, and it's just going to be me and Kyle typing numbers in. So
Yeah.
might be a little chaotic, but we'll certainly make it fun there too. But as UK homers, as Franklin County Flyer homers, we're going to have a lot of fun on this podcast.
Yeah, we are. And I'll tell you, we've only been doing this for now 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
5 weeks? Is it that long? Okay.
Yeah, 5 weeks. But we are the fastest growing podcast, at least in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We're in the top 1/2 of 1%. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. We've had a ton of people who are new to the show. We are here every day, 5 p.m. talking.
Jimmy Webb.
Yeah, hey, Jimmy Webb. And we're talking news and all of the news that's fit, and obviously Kentucky basketball and Kentucky sports. So we really appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us so that you can find us in the future where we will have
and hit the notification bell.
Yeah, make sure you hit that.
That will, when Kyle posts that we're going live, that'll give you about a 30-minute notification that we're going.
Yep. Well, that is going to do it for us tonight in our Kentucky basketball roster special. For Craig Blanton, I am Kyle Thompson. We'll keep a watch on that NBA draft decision, the portal movement, and whether Mark Pope can land that final major piece, because if he does, this roster changes from interesting to dangerous, Craig. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, stay above the noise. Good night, everybody, and go Big Blue.
Okay, let's go.